Hey guys, David Johnston here. This is day 24 of crypto, DeFi, and PegNet talks that I've been doing. And today I want to talk about the balance between labor and capital. So I think this is sort of one of the fundamental questions in society. It's one of economics, it's one of basic fairness. There's been a tension for a very, very long time between the people doing work and the people investing capital. And this is probably most famously shown through the 20th century struggle between communism and capitalism, right? And a system dedicated to, you know, uh, labor, at least in theory, and a system dedicated to capital, at least in theory. And this epic struggle went on, but I think the whole dynamic sort of misses the point. There's no difference between labor and capital. Capital is the storage of labor over time. Somebody does work and they're rewarded with money, and that money is the storage of their work. So if you have a good money, an honest money, you have an honest record of all the work that people have done before. And so capital is honoring and preserving the value of the work that people have done before. And so when somebody invests capital, all they're doing is taking the value that they created earlier and deploying it now. And so there's this false dichotomy between the worker and the capitalist. Every capitalist had to have earned their capital somehow, at least in an honest system, like crypto or in a gold based system where nobody can create pretend money out of thin air. And so this has been really interesting to see in practice when it comes to crypto. So Bitcoin, of course, started with proof of work, and nobody got any free Bitcoin. It's been people that were mining Bitcoin blocks, and eventually they sold it to somebody else. But those Bitcoin in circulation all came from the proof of work that somebody did to find that block originally. The provenance of every single Bitcoin can be traced back, if you will, back to the Coinbase, back to the reward for that block. And everybody knows that there's no free Bitcoin and that everybody had to put a lot of computation and energy and labor into discovering that solution, finding those Bitcoin and claiming that reward. So thinking about that in the context of PegNet, I really like the fact that one, it started with mining, and that the only way to get PegNet is to mine it or to buy Peg and burn it into pegged assets using crypto. So if you're accepting crypto as a gateway, you're honoring the fact that other people have done work before and can add that value to the system. So you have new work flowing into the system, and you have an honoring of existing previous work that's been done also allowed to enter the system. Now, what we've seen and what's sort of evolved in PegNet is a balance between the two. So you have a immediate 5,000 peg reward per block to the miners, and a 5,000 peg per block reward to the arbitrageurs that are doing the work of balancing all the prices in the system. And this has been really interesting because it gives sort of an equal footing to both sides of the community. The arbitrageurs are largely bringing their value from other crypto, whether it be buying peg or converting factoids. I think it would be great to figure out a way where we can align incentives where other gateways can be added in the future, but we have to do it in a way that doesn't swamp out the people that are doing the hard work of the mining and who are adding their value to the system at a predictable rate. So, at least that gateway needs to be at a predictable rate and sort of on an equal footing with mining, I think, in order for it to be fair. And so I've been thinking about this concept a lot. I'll probably end up writing a Medium article on the topic, but I like this solution in general. I don't think that one extreme or the other is the answer. What I think is the answer is honoring work by honoring property rights. I mean, that's what the record of money is. It's your personal property. And if you're creating an honest system, you're honoring that work by also honoring the fruits of that work, which is the property that we all own. So, I think we can really exemplify this in crypto. We have this platform where it's an honest system that's been built up through proof of work, where there has been no free money entering the system. Everybody's been doing work of some type or adding capital in. And I think you really have to balance those two dynamics. So kind of just wanted to brainstorm about that today because I think there's sort of broader implications that we can really sort of apply this model going forward. I've always been very interested in self-governing companies, employee-owned companies, things like that. But you have to have capital coming in from outside, and you need to offer value to those that are building the company on the inside, right? And so in the case of a traditional company, it'd be interesting just to create some sort of balanced model where half of the value is from investment and half of the value is from employees. I'll have to look at some of the co-ops and other models that people have experimented with. But I think what we've done in crypto is some of the most interesting economic and sort of game theory experiments have done in a very long time because of the pace that crypto evolves and the number of experiments and variations that people have tried. You can sort of get outside of the laboratory of economists imagining systems, and instead we have them in the world, and they're attracting a certain amount of capital, they're getting a certain number of users, they're experiencing an inflation rate, they're aligning different behaviors that people are doing in order to earn that value. So really fascinating topic, at least I find it extremely fascinating. And I'll certainly be writing more about this. But when it comes to PegNet, this is why I think PIP12 and the staking as a way of rewarding arbitrageurs and their work is really interesting, because it creates that even footing, that 5,000 and 5,000 peg per block to the miners and those doing the arbitrage that the system really needs in order to thrive. So, been a great reception from the community so far. There's been a lot of debate and thought about, oh, should it just reward miners? But no, we also need people from outside the mining community to add their value to the network. So sort of as a rough survey of about the 18 or 19 people that have commented, about 16 of those have been in favor. So I'd say we're getting sort of rough consensus that this is the direction the community wants to head. So hopeful to see a developer pick up staking fairly soon. And I think getting that implemented would be really powerful for the whole community. So anyway, those are my thoughts on labor and capital. I don't think they are opposed to one another. They are almost like water and steam and ice. It's all work in different forms. Work in the past, work in the present, taking that value and put it into the future. And by having honest ledgers and money, that's the system that we've all developed in order to honor that work over time as property. So anyway, I'll leave it there, but great to be on this journey with you all. Thank you for everybody that's contributed and passed me great questions and things to talk about in these different videos. It's been a lot of fun. I think I might well continue making videos after the 100 days is complete. Might change up the format. I'm still thinking about that, but feel free to give me a suggestion. Some people are saying I should do interviews. It feels like there's a lot of that out there, but maybe that's also validation. That's what people want to consume is interesting back and forth conversations. So I'll think some more about that, but appreciate you guys. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, and be awesome to one another. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.